When the Memphis Grizzlies suddenly fired head coach Taylor Jenkins, the first question on everyone's mind was, did Ja Morant have a hand in this? Teams rarely dismiss a coach without the input of their star player, especially when that coach is the winningest in franchise history. Jenkins had led Memphis to consistent success, including a strong playoff presence. So what really happened behind the scenes? The story starts 2 years ago. The Grizzlies had high hopes after finishing as a number 2 seed. However, their playoff run ended abruptly with a first-round sweep by the Lakers. The glaring issue was Memphis's half-court offense. It stalled badly when transition opportunities dried up. In response, the front office made sweeping changes, firing much of Jenkins' coaching staff and hiring a European coach named Tassi Salolo, alongside Noah Laro, a Spurs alum who introduced a radically new offensive scheme. This new offense stood out for its lack of screens, an almost unheard-of style in modern NBA basketball. Traditionally, teams rely heavily on screens to generate spacing and create scoring chances. In the past, post-ups dominated, with big men operating near the basket. But the 2025 Grizzlies often played as if it was 5 players in isolation, which was unusual. At first, this approach looked promising. Memphis had a top 5 offense and defense, hallmark signs of a contender. But as the season progressed, their defense dropped to 20th over the last 40 games, and the offense struggled to keep up the early momentum. So did Morant demand Jenkins' firing? According to Memphis GM Zach Kimmon, the decision was his alone, without input from Morant. But insiders say Morant was shocked when he found out Jenkins was fired. He loved the coach and didn't see it coming. The final play of that game was even more baffling. Jenkins called for a double team on Fox in the dying seconds, not 10 seconds left, but the final possession. This allowed Fox to anticipate the trap and explode to his left hand for a game-winning shot. The following game, with both Morant and Jaren Jackson sidelined, Jenkins failed again in offensive play calling. On the final possessions, Memphis let Desmond Bane isolate against Dyson Daniels, a top defensive player, instead of using timeouts and drawing up smarter plays. This poor coaching contributed to 3 straight heartbreaking losses, something the Grizzlies hadn't seen since 2002. Despite a strong start to the season, Memphis had lost 11 of their last 19 games post-All-Star break and struggled badly against elite competition. Internal tensions flared, with reports of Bane shoving teammates during timeouts. Western Conference rivals were relieved, praying to face either the Grizzlies or the Rockets early in the playoffs. Neither team posed a serious threat. So what's next if the Grizzlies flame out early again? Industry insiders were already whispering around the trade deadline about Morant's future. One executive hinted, keep an eye on Ja this summer. Though the team is young and has plenty of potential runway, the harsh reality of the NBA is that time always runs short. The firing of a beloved coach without consulting Morant raised red flags. Could the Grizzlies really be willing to risk alienating their star? Morant's style resembles that of Derrick Rose, explosive, athletic slashers who don't rely on three-pointers, but whose availability has been hampered by injuries. After 3 years, Morant has missed at least a quarter of games due to injury or suspension, drawing comparisons to Kawhi Leonard's injury-prone career, but without Leonard's championship success. Maybe Memphis is questioning how far they can go with Morant as their centerpiece. They fired Jenkins but promoted Tassi Salolo, the architect of the unpopular no-screen offense Morant despises. This looks like a team doubling down on a system that alienates their star, hardly a sign they're committed to building around him. While they did let go of Noah Laro, the main proponent of the no-screen offense, their very first game under Salolo still featured minimal screens for Morant. It's a subtle but significant warning sign. The possibility of Morant being on the trade block this offseason isn't far-fetched, especially if Memphis stumbles again in the playoffs. One potential suitor? The Miami Heat, a franchise that rarely rebuilds and constantly chases stars. If Morant moves, Miami would have to consider moving Bam Adebayo or Tyler Herro, but the Heat are no strangers to bold moves to remain contenders.